This is Ask the Mayor. It is a pleasure to be back here with you for the next half hour as we're giving you a unique opportunity to ask Mayor Eric Adams your questions right here on the air. The number to dial, 718-861-6800. It will be on the bottom of your screen throughout the program for reference as well. And with that, we're very happy to welcome back to our studios tonight, New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Great to have you.
Great to see you, Amanda. It's good to be back here.
Great. And as we wait for some of those calls to come in, I just want to touch on real briefly some of the headlines that we've seen over the past couple of days involving subpoenas and investigations. And I just want to give you the opportunity to speak directly to New Yorkers about the message that you'd like to send to them to keep in mind as this process plays out.
No, so true. And, you know, I like to remind people over and over, I'm a former law enforcement officer, 22 years in the police department. And I'm a big believer. You participate with any review that takes place. And we did that from the beginning. We're going to continue to do so. And what's so important, let the process play out. I strongly believe that on the other side of this, people are going to see that I did nothing wrong. I continue to say that. I did not serve enforcing the law to break the law. And I am looking forward to just fighting on behalf of New Yorkers. The lawyers will deal with that process. I'm going to keep delivering for this city.
Appreciate you taking the time to just address that briefly here as we switch gears now and address some big changes that are coming to the Bronx specifically. The City Council taking some major action late last week to approve the Bronx Metro North rezoning plan. Hundreds of millions of dollars in improvements. We have thousands of homes and thousands of job opportunities that come as a result of this.
Yes.
Can you paint a picture for Bronxites who are going to be in those impacted neighborhoods of what these changes are going to look like and how their neighborhoods are going to reflect that once all is said and done?
Transformative. I spent a lot of time in the Bronx, and for so many years this borough had great borough presidents like you do now with Vanessa Gibson, Ruben Diaz Jr., who I'm going to see later, but it has been passed by. And we want to use the hubs of where the train stops are to do our housing initiative. 44-0. Cannot thank Speaker Adrian Adams enough for really showing how important this is and getting the team and the council together. 10,000 new jobs in the area, 7,000 new housing will take place there. We're in a housing shortage, and we have to be a city of yes. And it's just exciting each time we get these projects up and going, like our Willis Point projects, 2,400 units of 100% affordable housing with a soccer stadium privately funded. But what you're seeing here in the Bronx is similar to what we saw and we're seeing all over the entire city. Really excited.
Yeah, and with that excitement in mind, how do we expand projects like this to perhaps other transit deserts in the city? I think what comes to mind to me is Southern Brooklyn specifically.
Yes. By saying yes to housing. This is an important initiative. People have heard about this City of Yes concept. We have not had any major zoning changes since the 60s. And we had zoning changes that were in place that really prevented us from building. And when you look at it, we have 59 community boards in our city. Out of those 59 community boards, 10 have built more affordable housing than 49 combined. It's just not right. So we have places where there are good schools, access to good health care, access to good food, access to good transportation. We need to build more housing there. You should not have a lottery with 200 units, yet we have 50, 60,000 people putting in for those units. And so we need to look at those transit deserts, come up with alternatives to transportation, a good bus service, so that people can live in throughout this entire city.
Yeah, and this Bronx rezoning, a big part of that city.
Oh, it is.
Yes.
It is. And the borough president, to her credit, and many of the other borough presidents have all supported this whole rezoning that we're looking to do citywide. But Bronx Borough President Vanessa Gibson really understands that we have to build more. We have to build our way out of this problem. The state gave us some tools, such as renovation of office spaces into permanent housing. We have 138 square feet of office spaces that we could potentially do this. Now we need the city to help, and we're getting some support, and we're hoping that they lean into this and get the City of Yes proposal passed.
I'm sure many others also looking forward to that too. I want to get to our first question of the evening. I believe it's on the topic of subway safety, and this is Lainey from Flatbush. Let's listen into this.
Yeah, so any questions that I have for Mayor Eric Adams, I want to say, like, when are we going to start getting safety checks and everything inside of the train stations? Like, y'all more worried about making sure everybody's swiping Metro cards, taking our money, but females, a lot of males, everybody's still getting stabbed in their legs, stabbed in their neck.
I like that. And, you know, you got to pay your fare, you know. So let's look at it. What has happened, like when you have 4.1 million riders a day, and you take whatever negative action that happens with 4.1 million riders, and it's highlighted, should be reported. But when it leads all the time, people have a tendency to believe, as this young lady, that, okay, people is getting stabbed every day on our subway system. No. We have 5 felonies, an average of 5 felonies a day, out of 4.1 million riders. Now, we want to get rid of the 5 felonies, but the reality is the subway system is the safest it has been in almost 14 years, if you remove the 2 years when no one was on it during COVID. Our robbery numbers are the lowest in recorded history on the subway system, the lowest in recorded history. So I know people read, they sit on the subway and they will open the paper and say, oh my God, somebody got pushed to the subway tracks. You know, we need to deal with those issues, but this system is the safest it has been in over 14 years if you remove those 2 years from COVID. Robbery numbers are the lowest in the history of the recorded history of the system. And so we're not where we want to be, because we want to get rid of those 5 out of the 4.1 million riders, but these police officers are doing an amazing job, and we're going to continue to move forward with it.
I was going to say, a lot of those numbers probably credited to that surge of police officers that you put into the system back in January. Also now seeing some new technology at certain subway stations with these weapon detectors that have been in place for about a month at select stations. Any feedback that you're getting from that program so far, or plans to expand it in the future? We
wanted to do a 30-day pilot project. Deputy Commissioner Daughtry was looking at the project, and we're going to see and assess, did we find any guns, did we find any knives, did we find any razors. We do it in alignment with our bag checks, and then we're going to assess to see what the expansion is going to look like. But, you know, I'm big on technology. You know, people, we have to run cities smarter and better, and you have many people, bad guys are using all forms of technology. We just did a major bust in Queens, a home invasion, where we used a drone. Responding officers were able to use the drones with heat sensor to see the perpetrators run out of the house. They saw where they ran to. They were able to apprehend them. And that is how you partner drones and technology, such as the weapon detector, with the manpower on the ground.
You're talking about technology and using that for enforcement purposes, and my mind goes to illegal dumping, weirdly enough, because I think that now with added surveillance and increased fines, that's supposed to add as a deterrent. Across the Bronx, across Brooklyn, I feel like this summer we have been covering these stories near constantly. Anything else beyond the surveillance, beyond the increased fines that we can do to deter this dumping in our neighborhoods?
And we see that a lot in Hunts Point, in Glendale. And you see it over the city. Councilman Salamanca was really front and center on that. And our goal is to utilize the cameras in a real way. But the best things we could do is for people to report who's doing it. And at the same time, if you see their license plates, you know, don't do it where you place yourself in harm's way, but take a picture of the license plates. Send it in to 911, or you could drop it off to your local precinct. That is community involvement, helps us identify. Oftentimes, it's the same person. They may do some type of profession where they have to get rid of garbage, and they find it's better to dump it instead of paying to get rid of it. So we need the help and assistance from the resident. It's a huge problem here in the Bronx, and your council persons have really assisted us in doing so. We've placed cameras in locations, but everyday New Yorkers can do so much to also assist us in the apprehensions.
And obviously great to see sanitation stepping up and cleaning up so often when we make them aware of these situations, but anything else that can be done on the enforcement end of that beyond the surveillance?
Last year we issued over 300 summonses, and the fines are steep. We talk about $4,000. So we are, Commissioner Tish, she is really 100% on this. That picture speaks of volumes. It just changed the character of the entire area when you see something like this. And you know what it does? It brings out my number one enemy, rats.
We have a lot more to talk on that topic coming up for sure. But 100%.
But it's really, when you look at this, it's just really problematic. And it's just individuals who don't respect their neighbors. So this is a problem we are really taking seriously.
Yeah, all too often it's the community that comes together and lets us know, and then hopes to get it cleaned up. Well, the conversation is just getting started here on Ask the Mayor tonight. 718-861-6800 is the number to dial if you have a question for Mayor Adams. We'll be taking those calls as soon as we come back. Stay with us.
Ford Thunderbolt 12. Real-time, street-level weather updates.
Looking at this damage, this is a possible tornado on the ground.
The skies have opened, a preview of what we can expect.
We'll be in Thunderbolt 12, keeping you safe throughout the storm.
On the road for your safety. Trust Ford Thunderbolt 12. Get your local news across the tri-state from News 12 New York, streaming now. Every Thursday, take a road trip with News 12. From beaches to parks, amusement centers, and local festivals,
here they feed you just like your mama would.
News 12 takes you along for the ride as we search for the best summer activities and getaways across the tri-state area.
Your adventure awaits.
Don't miss Road Trip Close to Home, Thursdays at 7 and 9:30 p.m. only on News 12. Get the latest headlines on the News 12 stories that could impact your day, delivered right to your inbox. Sign up now. To sign up, just scan the QR code or go to news12.com/newsletter now.
Whether you're looking for relaxation, adventure, or a taste of the good life,
nothing beats summer on the East End.
Let's go.
Explore the people, places, and personalities that make up Long Island's East End. From farm-to-table fine dining to casual seafood shacks, Hampton's hotspots to charming North Fork villages. The East End's not just a destination, it's an experience.
Join us to see what makes summer so special here on the East End.
Watch the East End, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 9:30, only on News 12.
You watch your favorite shows on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Now you can watch News 12 too. Scan the QR code to learn how to add News 12 to your channel lineup for the most local news, weather, traffic, and more. Now available to stream. News 12. Local matters. Every Thursday, take a road trip with News 12. From beaches to parks, amusement centers, and local festivals,
here they feed you just like your mama would.
News 12 takes you along for the ride as we search for the best summer activities and getaways across the tri-state area.
Your adventure awaits.
Don't miss Road Trip Close to Home, Thursdays at 7 and 9:30 p.m. only on News 12. Get the latest headlines on the News 12 stories that could impact your day, delivered right to your inbox. Sign up now. To sign up, just scan the QR code or go to news12.com/newsletter now. Ford Thunderbolt 12. Real-time, street-level weather updates.
Looking at this damage, this is a possible tornado on the ground.
The skies have opened, a preview of what we can expect.
We'll be in Thunderbolt 12, keeping you safe throughout the storm.
On the road for your safety. Trust Ford Thunderbolt 12.
Welcome back to Ask the Mayor here on News 12 with New York City Mayor Eric Adams.
Yes.
The phones have been ringing off the hook, so it's time to get to some of those callers tonight. And I believe we have Caesar from the Bronx on the line. Caesar, thanks so much for tuning in and calling in. What's your question for the mayor?
Yes, thank you, News 12, and thank you, Mayor Adams, for taking this call.
Thank you.
Mayor Adams, I got issues with the Section 8. I apply it, and I keep getting shot down. Now, I feel bad because I'm born and raised here. I work here all my life. It's like people come, I don't know where they jump the line. Everybody, is going through something. I get it. But what about those that were here first, What about the veterans?
No.
You understand what I'm saying? It's very hard. Like Section 8 tells you they're going to call you at 5, they call you at 4:59. That's it. If you don't answer within those 2 phone rings, you're shot down.
Yeah, one thing is important to point out, because I hear this often. People say, hey, the new arrivals, particularly the migrants and asylum seekers, are taking the housing that many of longtime New Yorkers have been waiting for. That's not true. They're not eligible for this housing. The Section 8 housing, our voucher programs, our FEPS vouchers is for New Yorkers. It's for long-term New Yorkers, and so I want to be clear on that. Second, the Section 8 just announced 200,000 households were randomly selected. It's not about jumping the line. This is a random process because we want to make sure the integrity of it. But 200,000 households were randomly selected, and NYCHA is now notifying these families as well. So maybe possible that you're one of those 200,000 that's being notified. But don't give up. I often hear people, they try to call one time, they tried to go after one of the Housing Connects program one time, and they get frustrated. But as we had a woman was with us, as we announced some of the initiatives we're doing with some of the new housing, she talked about how she stayed on top of it, and she was able to get a great home to live in. Brother, let me tell you this. We have a housing shortage, 1.4% vacancy rate, and we need to encourage all of our electeds to welcome new housing throughout this entire city, and that's what the City of Yes is about. Is doing a little bit more housing in every community, and I made a commitment at the state of the city to reopen the wait list after 15 years that it was closed. We reopened it, promise made, promise kept, and I look forward to you finding that home that you're looking for.
Absolutely. I believe we also have Dennis on the line joining us this evening from Morrisania. Dennis, thanks so much for calling in. Go ahead and ask your question when you're ready.
Hello, how you doing, man, Adam?
Good. How are you, Dennis?
I'm okay. I'm all right. I wanted to ask you about the exploding e-bike. I have a couple of solutions to fix that problem. Is there any way that somebody can contact me to figure out how we can talk about it?
Oh, I love calls like this, Dennis. Solution driven. Yes. Leave your number. We get your message if the operator would take your number.
Yes.
And in fact, I'll call you when I get in the car, when I drive out to the beach for this concert. I'll give you a call to get an understanding of your idea, and then I'll put you in contact with our emerging markets, because you may be onto something and we want to hear it.
Mr. Mayor, I'll ask, though, what are some of the initiatives that your administration is spearheading right now? I know just last month you had a big announcement with a variety of points to tackle this problem.
It's those darn bogus batteries out there. They're coming from different places, like China and others, and they are just not being used correctly. So we're doing everything from a battery swap program to education. Like, many people need to be educated on where they should be storing their e-bikes. We found a lot of fires where people were storing their e-bikes by their doors or in their bedrooms. And when you look at the video, I encourage everyone to go online, look at the video on how fast these fires/explosions take place. So we've launched the first in this nation municipal trading program. The first time in this nation, and a new campaign to let New Yorkers know. And it is imperative these batteries should be swapped out. Don't shortchange to think you're getting a discount. It could harm your family, and as we see, that's taking lives. And hats off to former Fire Commissioner Laura Kavanaugh. She really took this issue front and center, and it was so important. This fire here up in the Bronx, I remember responding to that fire. Thank God knowing we didn't lose any lives, I believe, in that fire. But that is how dangerous these e-bikes are.
I think the battery swap program is going to be really key and something that we're definitely going to keep a close eye on as it continues to develop, and a lot of people will be doing the same. We were talking briefly during the commercial break that we're in back to school season. It is in full swing. The kids are going to be back to school before we know it. One thing that was being talked about at the end of last school year was a potential cell phone ban in schools. I know the governor had a listening tour this summer to get feedback from families. I believe at the end of the last school year, the school's chancellor even said, I'm leaning towards that. Any update on whether or not that's something that families need to be prepared for come September?
And we've had a number of conversations, and it's interesting. This is one of those issues where on both sides of the issue, there are those who are strongly proponents of it, and those who are saying, wait a minute, hold on for a moment, because there's a real safety issue. 9/11 has changed the game where parents want to get in contact with their loved ones right away. But here are the facts we know. It is a real interference. It's a distraction. It hurts our children. It promotes violence in school. A lot of bullying takes place. It is just something that has impacted our young people a lot. So we're now looking at a strongly encouraged to a full ban. Some schools already are voluntarily doing bans, and they saying it has worked out. So we want all stakeholders involved, and we'll be ready to make a formal announcement.
And you think that's going to come before the start of this school year?
It has to.
Okay, all right. Well, we'll be definitely keeping tabs on that and paying close attention. The conversation continues here on Ask the Mayor right after this. 718-861-6800 is the number to dial if you have a question for Mayor Adams. Stay with us here on News 12. We'll be right back after this.
Every Thursday, take a road trip with News 12. From beaches to parks, amusement centers, and local festivals,
Here, they feed you just like your mama would.
News 12 takes you along for the ride as we search for the best summer activities and getaways across the tri-state area.
Your adventure awaits.
Don't miss Road Trip Close to Home, Thursdays at 7 and 9:30 p.m. only on News 12.
Whether you're looking for relaxation, adventure, or a taste of the good life,
Nothing beats summer on the East End.
let's go.
Explore the people, places, and personalities that make up Long Island's East End. From farm to table fine dining to casual seafood shacks, Hampton's hotspots to charming North Fork villages. The East End's not just a destination, it's an experience.
Join us to see what makes summer so special here on the East End.
Watch the East End, Saturday and Sunday mornings at 9:30, only on News 12.
You watch your favorite shows on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Now you can watch News 12 too. Scan the QR code to learn how to add News 12 to your channel lineup. For the most local news, weather, traffic, and more, now available to stream. News 12. Local matters. Ford Thunderbolt 12. Real-time, street-level weather updates.
Looking at this damage, this is a possible tornado on the ground.
The skies have opened, a preview of what we can expect.
We'll be in Thunderbolt 12, keeping you safe throughout the storm.
On the road for your safety. Trust Ford Thunderbolt 12. Get the latest headlines on the News 12 stories that could impact your day, delivered right to your inbox. Sign up now. To sign up, just scan the QR code or go to news12.com/newsletter now. Every Thursday, take a road trip with News 12. From beaches to parks, amusement centers, and local festivals,
Here, they feed you just like your mama would.
News 12 takes you along for the ride as we search for the best summer activities and getaways across the tri-state area.
Your adventure awaits.
Don't miss Road Trip Close to Home, Thursdays at 7 and 9:30 p.m. only on News 12.
Welcome back to Ask the Mayor with New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Earlier in the program, we were talking about one of your favorite topics to talk about, and that being rats and getting rid of them. I believe we have a caller on the line, Haysha, joining us with a question about just that. Haysha, thanks so much. What's your question? Oh, we're struggling to hear Haysha. Is she there?
Yes, hello?
Oh, yep, we got you. What's your question, Haysha?
Yes. Okay, I have over 20 plus rats in my backyard due to the building next door garbage. The building is not placed in garbage in small bins with lids. How can I resolve this issue?
Yeah, you know, Aisha, and I had a problem with my neighbor next door. The same, droppings everywhere. The rats are running. You know, it's really unfortunate. So leave your information with the operator here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to get our rat czar karate to come up there, look around your place and see exactly, and give you some really good tips on what you can do. And also, we're going to look at what your neighbor is doing next door. So let us get on top of that for you. No one wants to deal with this. Listen, I hate rats. You know, I say it over and over again. You know, nothing could disrupt your day more than a rodent running out of your cupboard or across your foot. And so we're going to get up there and give you the help that you need and do an assessment. But I do want to invite you. We're going to have a rat summit. We got some of the amazing rodentologists. And yes, there are people like that, the scientists, because when you have an enemy, you need to know your enemy. And rats are my enemy. And like other New Yorkers, as we look at what's coming across the screen now, and I'm just like, ooh, just
skin
watching
crawls, just looking at them, right?
You know, so we leave your information and let us have our team go there and do an analysis. If your neighbor's doing something wrong, you may have some burrows there that you need to close. There are things you could do around the house. Catherine is amazing in dealing with this issue.
Yeah, looking forward to the tips she can provide, Haysha, there, and all that is to be learned out of this National Rat Summit that we're looking forward to in September. I know News 12 will be covering it diligently. Mr. Mayor, thanks so much for being back with us here for Ask the Mayor. We appreciate your time and your answers to all the questions. We appreciate all of you for tuning in and calling in. Thanks so much for being with us.